All right, well, happy Saturday, Central Georgia. It's meteorologist Ansley Parker here. We are going to go ahead and dive into where things stand right now in terms of our storm chances for the rest of the day. As you can see behind me, we do have the line starting to move into our area now. So we don't actually have any warnings at the moment. There's actually not even any of those what we call special weather statements, so kind of those pre-warnings. It's really just this line of storms, and in that line, there are a couple of sections that have been strong from time to time. So I'm going to talk about where things stand right now. We'll talk about the rest of the day today, and I'm also aware that I believe we are live on Facebook, so I will address some questions if there are any as we come to the end of this as well. But just want to be very clear, there are no active warnings here at the moment. We are just going over the forecast and what you can expect for the rest of the day. So with that being said, let's jump into it. Now you can see this kind of strong section of showers and storms moving into our area here. That tricky little front that's been over our area is passing back through our area from North Georgia. And you can see it's definitely got some lightning along portions of this line, and what you can't really see from this view is that it also has some sections of some stronger winds as well. Remember, we are in a level 1 of 5 risk from the Storm Prediction Center today, but something that I do want to point out to you is that that level 1 risk actually starts just to the south of where this line is right now. The reason that I even go out of my way to point that out is because technically these northern counties where this storm is rolling into right now are not necessarily outlined in a severe weather risk. So when it gets into this area here, that's actually where the kind of fuel and the ingredients that we need for some stronger thunderstorms actually still exists right now. And I can show you that by showing you the current temperatures. Just take a look at the numbers across the map, even just looking at the colors here before I flip the numbers on. This cool section up in our northern counties is actually where the fuel is limited for stronger to severe thunderstorms. Here where you see all the oranges and where the flow is coming in from the southwest, that's actually, again, where there's just going to be more ingredients for these thunderstorms to really take off. So we definitely need to be watching this line as it moves into these areas with warmer temperatures, because it's already kind of strong in these areas with cooler temperatures. So you can imagine once we kind of get into this warm sector here in our area, that can definitely allow for these thunderstorms to kind of fire up and potentially become strong to severe. So I just want to point that out right off the bat, just to show you we're kind of in the waiting period still. I know that we're starting to see these kind of pop off, if you will, but we're not really going to see them get potentially strong to severe until we get a little bit closer to the noon hour. And then it's really noon to about 6 p.m. this evening that we really need to be weather aware and on guard. That's when we'll be wanting to watch this line as it moves across those warm sections here in our area for any areas that could get strong to potentially severe. So right off the bat, this is what things look like a little bit closer here in our area. You probably notice one area that jumps out at you more specifically, this section right here that is just to the northwest of Monroe County. A lot of lightning here in that area, and they've had some strong winds in this region as well. The good news is not a severe thunderstorm right now. It's really just an area with some stronger winds and a lot of frequent lightning, which we'll probably see those from time to time as this moves into our area. Again, even if we're not necessarily at severe weather criteria, we're kind of at strong weather criteria as we watch this get a little closer to our area. You can see the winds close to 50 miles an hour, so we're not at severe criteria, but we're just 10 miles an hour shy. So as this moves into counties like Jasper and like Monroe, we're definitely going to see strong portions of this storm move into those areas. But in terms, again, of actual severe warnings, we don't have any out there right now. Now we will again be watching today for any areas of potential brief rotation. So what I mean by that is we'll just kind of be watching from scan to scan to see if any of these sections in the storm, kind of like this stronger wind speed section right here, we'll definitely be wanting to watch sections like that closely in case they try to show signs of brief rotation. Now the good news is that has been happening throughout the morning, but the broadening of that rotation has also been happening as well. So they haven't had to issue any tornado warnings so far this morning. They've just kind of been watching, okay, sometimes the line looks like it might want to turn a little bit, but then it broadens back out before it's really warrants issuing a tornado warning. So that will be something that we watch through the rest of the morning, but I want to put your mind at ease a little bit. We are kind of seeing these sections tighten and then broaden back out. So hopefully that can be the case through the rest of the day as well, that we will be paying attention to that. Otherwise, again, that's kind of the strongest section within this storm right now, the area that's moving into Jasper and Monroe counties. But outside of that, we really just kind of have rain and a couple of rumbles of thunder moving into other portions. So you can see that moving into Upson County here, a little bit further to the east. We do have a couple of showers that are over here, kind of in the northern portion of central Georgia, Washington, Hancock, Baldwin, Putnam, Jasper, and Jones are all kind of experiencing some steady rain and occasionally a couple of rumbles of thunder as well. So in terms of what's actually here in our area right now, for the most part, it's rain and a couple of thunderstorms. The actual kind of brunt of this line is actually moving kind of slowly over the last hour or so. We've really seen this stronger portion of the storm kind of slow down and really just take its time getting into our counties. I'll play this back for you so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Let's loop this. Yeah, and you can kind of just see, I mean, it hasn't moved a ton over the last hour, just kind of barely creeped over a couple of counties. So by the time that it's gotten to us, it is just really taken its time. But it will eventually be here, and it will be something that we have to watch for the rest of the day today. Let's play the future view forward and talk about what the rest of this afternoon looks like. And the future view is actually doing a pretty good job, at least the graph model is, in terms of what's going on out there right now and how that relates to its projection. So doing a good job because it's picking up on what's out there right now, so we can kind of trust what it's going to say for the rest of the day. Like I said, as this moves into this section here in central Georgia, this is where we'll be watching for stronger sections of the storm, but it is really just south of our most northern counties that we'll start to see the potential for severe storms really enter the picture. That's around the noon hour that we'll start to see those kind of really fire up, and then through the afternoon until about 6 p.m. that's when we'll want to be watching these, kind of be weather aware through the rest of the day. So you can kind of see this here as we play that forward. I'll even take it back just 1 or 2 hours so that you can kind of see it's kind of moving in from the west. So as opposed to just being truly from the north to the south, it's moving in from the northwest into the southeast. So stronger portions of that storm have kind of been on the western end of this storm. You can kind of see it's a little bit more fizzled out over to the eastern end. And it looks like the graph model at least tries to kind of keep that trend around into the afternoon as well. A little bit less strong over to the east and a little more fuel over here to the west. But again, it will stick with us through the majority of the day, all the way into about 5 to 6 p.m. this evening. And then you can see this leading edge of this cold front will be moving out of our area by that time. Once that leading edge is gone, we really don't have to worry about severe weather chances after that. Yes, you can kind of still see some rain. You see some heavier pockets of rain behind this front, but that should really just be rainfall, maybe a couple of lingering rumbles of thunder after that. And that actually probably will stick with us through a lot of the rest of the evening into the late night hours. But again, the severe weather potential should die down as we head into this evening. After that leading edge moves out of our area, we really don't have to worry about severe weather much at all. It's really just as that initial front comes in, and then we're left behind with really what will be not super impactful weather. I mean, you might have to deal with some light rumbles of thunder or some rainfall, but other than that, it really shouldn't be a big deal. So that will be the rest of the night. And then by the time you are getting ready to start your day on Sunday, getting ready for church, heading out the door, all of this should be gone. And take a look at this. We're going to be completely clear, but notice these winds. They're getting a little bit stronger as we head into Sunday. We're definitely going to start to see the winds increase. And yes, you will have a completely clear Sunday, but it will be a very cool Sunday as well. So we're going to have some really cool temperatures that filter in behind this front as well. So that is kind of a look at the graph model for the rest of the day. I know a lot of folks like to see this product to talk a little bit more about the tornado potential for today. What you're going to see is kind of what I've outlined for you here just by talking over the last couple of minutes. Remember, these northern counties, they don't quite have as much fuel for strong to severe weather. It's once we pass our very northernmost counties that we tap into some more available energy for strong to severe thunderstorms, and that includes tapping into our brief rotation availability as well. So that's what you're going to see here, this leading edge. Remember, like I said, it's only that leading edge that we have to worry about severe potential, but along this leading edge, there will be a potential for brief spin-up tornadoes across all of our counties as we go throughout the rest of the day. Now, the encouraging thing about this, we are on the low end of this scale. If we started to be here in the reds and the dark purples, things like that, that's when we're talking about long track, long duration tornadoes. When we're in the greens and the whites, like what I was mentioning just a minute ago, that's when we're talking about brief spin-up tornadoes. Like I said, that really just momentary rotation on the radar, and then things broaden back out. So they don't last very long. We just kind of have the potential for that through the rest of the day. So that's what this model will show as we go through the rest of the day and that front continues to push across our area. We will have the fuel to have potential brief spin-up tornadoes across the entire area for the rest of the day until around 5 to 6 this evening, and then all of that potential will die down and we will stay quiet for the rest of the night. So that's kind of what you can expect in terms of just overall severe potential, but specifically in terms of the tornado potential, that will be the case as well. So What I'm going to do here is, while we're kind of in this waiting game at the moment, I am going to send it over to meteorologist Dani DaSilva. She's here with us today as well. She's going to talk a little bit more about the rainfall rates with some of these storms today, which will be really good for our area, and a little more on that temperature change that I was mentioning just a minute ago, and then I'll kind of touch base with where the radar stands after that. So Dani, take it away. What's going on?
Well, Ansley, with these incoming showers and storms, it does give the future view some potential for rain. So while we were just looking at that tornado potential, and she was saying where that energy picks up towards our central Georgia counties, and we don't really have much of that energy towards our northern counties, you kind of see that in terms of the rainfall rates. So as we go from the green to the blues, and we see those trace marks of around 1/4 of an inch, and they suddenly move to about an inch, a little over an inch, is when it really does pick up on that energy and potential and give us very heavy, steady rainfall rates, maybe a possible small size of hail. But as we go through the rest of today into tomorrow, that's what you could expect, especially most areas around Warner Robins, looking at a little over an inch. Butler, but then once it starts to lose energy and reach to our southern counties, it will die down and heavier in rainfall rates to about 1/2 an inch or so. But we really do need some of this rain. I think we've seen this drought monitor a lot, especially in the last couple of months. As of February 17th, most of the area is at least within a moderate to an extreme drought, and hopefully some of these areas, at least in the severe orange portions, will get a little bit of relief through the weekend. About a little over an inch should be in these areas. But as we look at long range future view, we see that cold front stretched across the southeast, and that's really what's giving us this potential for the possibility of some stronger and heavier storms throughout the day, throughout today and this afternoon. But like Ansley said, this should be moving out by the evening hours, and as this moves out, it gives us a clear picture for the weekend. So if you did have any plans towards the weekend, I know today may be kind of a hit or miss with some outdoor plans, but I think tomorrow would be the better bet, especially if you had anything outdoors. But as we get into the work week, we still have clear sunny skies going into the work week. No terms of any rain or incoming rain for the most part. If anything, we'll just build on some cloud cover on Wednesday. But like we said, the story as we start into this next week really is the temperatures. So we can see it's been very muggy and humid as you stepped out the door. Maybe the last day or so, it's felt like late spring, early summer when you walk out, and you can just feel that wet moisture in the air, almost like rain on your skin. But as this front moves on, a lot of this not bad lighter green will suddenly push out as the winds change in direction, and we have a lot of high pressure settle in. It'll keep us nice and dry, and you'll feel the difference tomorrow, especially as we go into Monday. But it's going to basically give us a very big impact in terms of temperatures. We've been kind of hinting at a false spring was only here for a little bit, and winter will make a return. As we look at the temperatures, that front will move out, those greens will also move, and we see the blues come back, and we haven't seen the blues in a couple of weeks. So temperatures in the morning will be in the mid 40s to probably low 50s compared to the 70s and 80s we've had. And as we go into Monday, they drop down to around freezing. We're looking at temperatures around 30 in the upper 30s, mid 30s going into Monday, and we'll just continue getting colder and colder, at least for the next couple of days. And with that change in wind direction, you can expect a change in some heavier gusts as it's changing direction and moving out. So as we go through the rest of today into tomorrow, wind speeds are picking up. So we can expect gusts of up to 20-30 miles per hour, and that will make it feel a lot colder, especially when we go throughout the day. On Sunday, those gusts of up to 30, even a little bit higher to 36, maybe the higher 30s, will definitely feel like some whiplash as you're going throughout the day. But these gusts could potentially within the next day or so cause for maybe a wind advisory, so we'll be on the lookout for that. And within these wind gusts, it'll affect your future view feels likes. So for the next day or so, those upper 40s will feel like the upper 30s, and as we head into Monday, we'll be in temperatures in the 30s, so that's going to feel like the teens. So it's going to be very, very cold. So if anything, as you're getting ready for work on Monday and Tuesday, I would definitely start to layer up again. Don't get used to the warm temperatures for too long, because you're going to want to grab the extra coat and extra layer, maybe a scarf as you head throughout the day on Monday and Tuesday. We're looking at, feels like temperatures still in the 20s. This is below freezing, so it'll definitely be a concern for that. But we'll want to stay weather aware for the next day. We have the 70s for just one more day, but then we see the drop in temperatures, especially as that front moves out. We go from what was 70s to upper 50s and below freezing for our lows for at least the next couple of mornings. We'll stay nice and dry and sunny, and we'll start to warm up a little bit as we head into the later portions of the week, with some better rain chances towards next weekend. But I mean, it's been a really nice couple of days for now. We've had an early spring, and if anything, just today is the only day that we have to pay attention to and just be a little bit more weather aware as we get into the evening. And then we'll have some colder temperatures. Remember, it's still February. Winter is still here, at least for a little bit.
Yeah, Dani, that's an important reminder, I think, because we've been in the 80s, we've been in the 70s. We have had totally warm weather compared to what we're going to experience heading into the rest of the weekend. So, yeah, that'll come as a little bit of a shock to the system. Obviously important to pay attention to the severe weather potential for the day today, but also just as important to focus on what the temperatures are going to feel like tomorrow. So, jumping back into the current satellite and radar, just to kind of show you where things stand here at the moment. Again, still no current severe alerts. We are just kind of sitting in this waiting period, really probably for the next 45 minutes or so, as we see this section move a little bit further into central Georgia. Counties like Crawford, Bibb, into Twiggs, Wilkinson, even Jones, Baldwin, and Washington counties. These areas are where we'll start to see this storm pick up just a little bit more. Now, in terms of what the strong sections are here at the moment, you can pick them out for yourself pretty clearly. It's still kind of the same sections that we were talking about just a few minutes ago. This section with all the lightning that's over here in portions of Butts County and moving into Jasper County with all that lightning, that is the section that has one of those special weather statements. So one of those things that the National Weather Service throws out when the storm is not necessarily at severe potential, but it's definitely still looking pretty strong. So I think that they kind of threw that out mainly because of the wind speeds there in that area. And from time to time when I've been checking on the wind speeds from our radar to their radar, it looks like they've got close to 50-mile-an-hour winds. So definitely gusty over there in that region of the storm, but that's kind of not the only section. That is the only special weather statement, but it is also a little bit strong over in portions of Upson County as well. If we kind of flip to our radar, it gives us a little bit better of an idea. You can kind of pick it out with the colors there with your own eyes. And of course, it's going to show me a value of 0. Sometimes this does this. If you grab the wrong pixel, it does not like it. Let's see if we can do their radar instead. So this kind of section in Upson County is what I'm trying to grab. Yeah, and they've got close to 40-mile-an-hour winds. So compared to the 50-mile-an-hour winds that are over there kind of on the northern end of this line, this is a little bit less strong, but 30-mile-an-hour winds are still pretty gusty. And that's kind of the section that's moving into Upson County at the moment. Remember, like I said earlier, as this moves into counties that have a little bit more sunshine and have some warmer temperatures, that's when we'll really start to see this line begin to kind of fire up. So Upson County and Monroe County are kind of on that transition zone. Yes, they see some stronger storms, but they're not necessarily at the severe level. Check out that temperature difference, 10 degrees from Monroe County into Crawford County. That's definitely going to be a difference in thunderstorm fuel as well. So as we see this line move into counties that are sitting in the 70s, that's where we'll start to see a little bit more fuel available for these thunderstorms, and that's when we'll kind of pay attention to the severe potential in those areas. But until then, we're definitely still sitting in impactful weather. It's just not necessarily at severe criteria. So this will kind of be what we do for the rest of the day, just kind of checking in, waiting to see where things stand at the moment, and then kind of waiting to see how this line actually interacts with the environments that it is moving into. The good news is over in these counties over here, kind of in the Baldwin area into Hancock and Washington, a couple of thunderstorms ahead of this line actually will kind of help eat up some of that fuel that's out there. So that's kind of also why I think that the graph model has this kind of eastern section being a little bit less strong. It's coming in with a powerful punch here from the west, but over in the east we kind of get some of these thunderstorms and a couple of showers ahead of that line, and I think that's just kind of eating up some of the fuel that's available out there on the eastern side. So I'm going to turn to the Facebook comments to see if there's any specific questions. I was looking just a minute ago and I did not see any questions at the moment, but let me see if there's anything that has changed. Okay, I am seeing somebody say that it came through the Atlanta Motor Speedway just a few minutes ago, talking about thunder and lightning and heavy rain, but not bad wind. So again, yeah, areas that it's rolling through right now, you know, it might not seem like too big of a deal. Let's check in with our sky cams here at the moment. You probably really won't be able to see much right now because, again, this line is really not in our area just yet, but we will be able to see that before too long. Now, the unfortunate thing is some of our sky cams are having some trouble today, which is why this is looking a little crazy behind me. But what I'm going to do is put this on, or I was going to put this on the quad view, but it might not let me because our Perry sky cam is down. Maybe our Dublin sky cam might be having a little bit of trouble too. I'm not sure what's going on over there. Perry is frozen at last night, so don't worry about Perry. That's kind of why it's stuck there. But you can kind of just see that outside when we look across our area, the clouds are out there. If you've stepped outside at all today, it just has that thunderstorm feel. You know what I'm talking about? When you step outside, it feels kind of muggy. The clouds are out there. It just feels like something is in the air. That's kind of the feel that we have across our area today. And then if Dublin, if it's showing us the right picture right now, areas that have sunshine are kind of adding to the available fuel that is out there as well. So that is kind of the situation here in our area. Again, I'm just kind of filtering through the Facebook comments to see if there's any specific questions, but it's one of those things that's pretty straightforward. I mean, we are just playing the waiting game until this line gets further here into our area. We definitely have some heavy rain, some lightning, and a couple of gusty winds over in Upson County and in Jasper County. But until this line moves a little bit further into central Georgia, at least right now, we are not necessarily at severe criteria. So slow moving at the moment. That's kind of how lines like this go sometimes. Sometimes they pick up speed really, really quickly and push through our area at a good clip. Other times, it's like what we're sitting at right now. I mean, think about from the time that we started this stream to the time that we're at now. I mean, this has hardly moved into our northwestern county. So it's kind of moving at a slow pace right now, but there could be a potential that we see this pick up as we head into kind of later portions of the morning and into the afternoon. So remember that 12 to 6 time frame is really the time that we'll be watching, especially for potential severe weather. But we will just kind of keep an eye on this line as we go throughout the rest of the day today. By the time we get to 6, maybe 7 this evening, that's when all of the severe potential should start to die down, and you should be able to go to sleep tonight with no worry of severe weather. It should be a quiet overnight. It's just going to be a little bit of an active Saturday afternoon. My best advice to you, if you start to hear thunder, if you start to see rainfall, just make sure you're checking your phone, make sure you're not getting alerts for your area, and just kind of stay in tune with the radar for the rest of the day today, because there is going to be that potential all the way through this evening. So with that being where things stand right now, again, we will check in probably not before too long. We will kind of just keeping you posted with what this looks like through the rest of the day today. But at least right now, no severe warnings. Definitely some gusty winds and some heavy rain rolling into counties like Upson, Monroe, Jasper, Putnam. And then we will just kind of play the waiting game through the rest of the afternoon to see what this system does. So stay weather aware through the rest of the day today, but maybe take it as an excuse to just kind of chill and have a lazy Saturday. And we will keep checking in with you for the rest of the day today. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you again shortly.